So it's really heartwarming to listen to all of those stories, and I guess how God is such a critical and integral part of our lives, right? So it's just a little bit about myself. So I think what's common with probably the previous two speakers as well. Just a very humble background. I grew up in Marsiling in the which was like a God-forsaken part of Singapore. My dad struggled to put me through school during the growing years. And always very grateful to him, right, for that. I guess, kind of sometimes being born in a humble family drives you a lot in life. So, so I was what they call a mugger, right? I would just freaking study 20 hours a day, kind of thing. And um, just, did reasonably well in school. I mean, I went to RI and then RJC, NUS. I got into the tech industry around I graduated in computer science in US in 95. So I guess kind of saw it, as it got into a bit of the boom period in Singapore. And I guess at that point in time, there was I would call it, there was no room really for God in my life, right? I used to go to church usually once a year. And, it'll either be Christmas or Good Friday. And then I guess when it's a good year for God, I go twice a year, which is Good Friday and Christmas. And so God really, it was there, but didn't really mean much, right? And I guess, identifying with a lot of my peers at that time, it was all about yourself, right? It was all about, you put in all your effort, and because of your hard work, you get to where you are. And that kind of got me, early in my career, I got an opportunity to work in the US, in Chicago, in Arthur Andersen's, what they call at that time, a new group called the Strategic Technologies Market Team. So I was very proud of myself, right? I say, wow, first Singaporean to work in Chicago and Arthur Andersen's headquarters at that time. And it really all got to my head, right? Again, no God in my life at all. I was just, so Bernard, I think we share something in common. It was just partying, right? 2 times, 3 times a week, right? That's all that mattered, right? And then you work hard, play hard. That's all. Simple motto in life, right? Who needs God? And then what happened around, it was around 1999, 2000-ish. At that time, it was the whole .com boom, right? Everyone was quitting. The managing partner of Andersen Consulting at that time, George Shaheen, quit his job to join a .com called webvan.com. And I was like, wow, like every guy is joining a .com. So I came back to Singapore around 2000. I started a startup with my best friend. And I thought that was it, right? I thought that was the start of me on my path to become the next Bill Gates of the world, right? I'm going to be like starting this $1 billion company, and then, people will be writing about me. It all kind of got to my head, right? Again, who needs God, right? I mean, I work hard and I deserve everything I do. And that was a bit of the thinking. And I think it's very interesting how God sometimes, in your own perception raises you high so that he's preparing you for discovering him, right? And for me, what happened was that was the year my whole life changed, right? I was, during the startup, I started the startup with my best friend, whom I had known for years since I was 13 years old, right? A guy I would kind of do anything for. And so with that, I after a year, the startup also struggled because, we started at perhaps not a very good time where the .com crash happened and all of that. So I then decided to move on from the startup. But what was very defeating for me personally was I just felt like I had failed in life, right? I mean, here I was supposed to become so-called, in my mind, the next Bill Gates. And suddenly I was nothing, right? I lost all the money I had. I remember, Bernard, maybe in that world of partying, right? Someone said, hey, let's go and meet up somewhere. I don't know whether it was Zouk or something. And I actually had to tell the guy, sorry, I can't go because I actually didn't even have the money for the bus fare to get there, right? I mean, that was how low I was. And I kind of went into, a period of, I would think, without me clinically calling it that, it was depression, right? Because I just felt like I just didn't know what else to do. I was at the bottom pits of my life. I thought, I wouldn't commit suicide, but, mentally I was just dead, right? I couldn't fathom going back to another regular job because it's like, it was meaningless to me anymore. And at that time, I just totally lost. And so I used to go to the novena because I like the hymns. And also because the novena is only half an hour, whereas when you go to church, it's 1 hour, right? Because I said 1 hour, not a good investment of my time. Half an hour, good return on investment. So I went to a novena one Saturday, I still remember. And this is just after I'd left the startup. And I was coming down the stairs, really lost. And someone just passed me a brochure, like one of those property agents passing you a brochure, right? Someone passed me a brochure and it said, "Are you lost in life? Are you looking for direction? Come to the Life in Spirit seminar." And I was like, it was really eerie. I looked up at the sky and I was like, wow, okay, this is really eerie, right? So I said, okay, how can I not go try it out? So I went to, there was an invitation at St. Bernadette's Church, coincidentally, where a group called Praise the Work, a group of, young working adults, they had formed a prayer group called Praise the Work, and they were organizing this program called the Life in Spirit Seminar. So I went there and I said, I will probably just go once. And after that, I would tick the box, said, tried God, doesn't work, right? Validated. And I'll never ever go near church again, right? But somehow when I went there, the funny thing was that everyone there was so happy, right? And it was authentically happy. Whereas I was wondering what's wrong with these people. It looked like a cult, right? Like everyone was just smiling. And then I was depressed, right? And then I went the second time and I went the third time, right? And trying to discover what makes these people happy, right? I mean, they don't look like they're faking it. There was something real about it. And that was my invitation by God, I think, back to his world. And then I continued going back, and to cut a long story short, now I have been involved, I think, in the church for like 20 years in various ways, right? That journey with God never stopped. And I always thought I'll meet my wife in a club somewhere, right? In a bar somewhere. And I actually met my wife in Praise at Work in church, right? Which was like, sometimes my friends still laugh about it, right? Those guys who used to party with me. But I think that's amazingly how God works. And ever since then, I've had, many challenges in the tech career. You have many challenges, right? When I was doing projects in Accenture, the stress level was unbelievable at some times. And then now that, I'm in sales and general management, the pressure of numbers, the pressure of reaching sales targets, delivering profitably, is always there. But somehow I found, in many instances in my journey, the faith in God, he just showed me that no matter what, right, if you cannot solve a problem during that phase of depression in my life, when I couldn't solve the problem, God could come in and give me the foundation that I needed to get me moving again, right? And most importantly, He's the only source of happiness, the only source. Nothing else can give you that kind of happiness that He can give. And through my entire, career, I have many times, sometimes it will be like you have, one of these nightmare meetings, right? Where, you're just going to go into the meeting, you're going to get clobbered, right? Totally speared. And then, you just pray in the morning, I'll go into these meetings, and then there's always something, right? It'll be like 2 minutes before the meeting, they'll say, okay, the meeting is postponed because the nightmare person can't make it or something, or we'll proceed without that person. And there's so many instances of that. It's just unbelievable, to a point where now I don't even guess whether or not God will help me. I know if I pray before a difficult meeting, He absolutely will help me in some way or another, right? In ways that I can't even fathom. So that's what's got me through my career. And so just going back to, the Bible verse, right? Where it's all about, and I'm just reading out what was on the slide, right? Don't panic, I'm with you. There's no need to fear, for I am your God. I give you strength. I'll help you. I'll hold you steady. Keep a firm grip on you. To me, it's just absolutely the truth. And I think if there was a day when someone said, sorry, you can't have God in your life anymore, I don't think, to me, life is fathomable at all, right? I just can't live a day without knowing that He's got my back. That's about it. Thanks so much for the time to share this.